everybody. This is almost unique in the annals of Lit Soc in that we are here on a Monday evening, so consequently it's rather a truncated audience, but hey, here we are.
Hey,
the reason for this is because tomorrow is Shakespeare's birthday, which we normally do celebrate, but we're celebrating it in a slightly different way today. There is a new podcast if you can tune into our podcast, Surbiton High School, but also Lit Soc too.
Yep.
Here is Mr. Humphreys, myself, and us, Miss Ison, who will be talking about the things that make Shakespeare great and also infuriating too. I'm sure we'll get to that. Amongst the 38 plays, 154 sonnets, maybe lots of other 2-3 longer poems, and all sorts of other things that keep coming up, being discovered, like Cardenio, which has come out of the annals from the bowels of the RSC, thanks to their wonderful previous artistic director, Greg Dorham. Anyway, so without more ado, or much ado, as Shakespeare might say, let us begin. Mr. Humphreys, would you like to start us?
I'll start us off, yeah.
Okay.
I'll start us with a sonnet, if I may, because it's something, and the reason this is one of the better known sonnets, and the reason I picked this one is because Shakespeare is great, and he is for all time, and he is all of the things that we say about him, but I think the two things that are important to remember. First of all, he was as insecure as the rest of us. He was full of self-doubts. And secondly, for much of his life, maybe not so much in later years, but certainly in his earlier days, he was considered to be not so great. And he had people call him an upstart crow. And they would write all sorts of things about them. Hello, Miss Oliver, by the way. Miss Oliver is joining us today.
Hello, Miss Oliver.
So this is Sonnet 29. I'll just read it to you and then I'll talk about it. It's quite straightforward. It's pretty self-explanatory, I think, but no less beautiful for that because this is Shakespeare after all. So I'll just read it and then I'll talk a little bit about it. When in disgrace with fortune in men's eyes, I all alone beweep my outcast states, and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fates, wishing me like to one more rich in hope, feared like him with friends possessed, desiring of this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy contented least. Yet in these thoughts myself almost despising, haply I think on thee, and then my state, like to the lark at break of day arising from sullen earth, sings hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love remembered such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings. So, in essence, go on. No, you. No, okay.
No. Can I just? Do you know the Rufus Wainwright version of that?
Yes.
Remember we played it?
You played it for me. Yes, I do know.
Yes.
The beautiful.
You don't know Rufus Wainwright? Fabulous singer.
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful.
Fabulous
One of my
singer.
favourite songs.
Was this part of a collection of him singing or doing musical accompaniment to classics of English literature? I'm sure he didn't do all 150.
I don't know
sonnets.
how it came about because I haven't had. Although there's the riches of the internet there, the way that I learnt about it was. I have a collection I have a CD with every famous actor under the sun that was still living.
Okay.
Alan Rickman, Alan Bates, Judi Dench, Michael Pennington, you name it, they're on it. If they were still with us. Reading, and then there are interspersed with songs, of whom Rufus is one and Annie Lennox is another, and there's one other, and I can't think who. And there's a booklet with it. All the sonnets are in there, and also not the music, but I'm trying to think, little illustrations.
Okay.
And this came out quite a while ago now, and I had a copy, and then I was given another copy by my brother-in-law because he didn't know I had it. But anyway, and of course. We can't play CDs at school anymore, but of course we've got YouTube now, and I realised that actually that he's, I think, written other music for other Shakespeare songs, for example.
Okay.
So I've yet to see him in concert,
That's
but
right, yeah.
it is I just love this one.
Sonnet 20. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, not at all. So this is Sonnet 20. So it's part of the Fair Use cycle, which is the first 115 odd, I believe.
Do you know about this, the Fair Youth Cycle?
Yeah, how it's broken up into two.
Yes, 2 or 3 three bits, basically,
Yes.
they think.
Yeah,
Don't they?
yeah. There's a lot of filling in the blanks here. We don't
Yeah.
even know when this was written. Speculated 1592, because Robert Greene, Upstart Crow. Have you seen Upstart Crow, the TV series, David Mitchell as Shakespeare, and what a perfect fit for Shakespeare, by the way. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Upstart Crow, he was interpreted as a derogatory term, but by Robert Greene, his great rival at the time. This was before Shakespeare was, a big name. So, and this is why he's sort of bemoaning his reputation almost. This is why they think it's 1592, because as well as that, Robert Greene writing his pamphlet, calling him an upstart Crow, there was also a plague, I think around 1592 as well. So he couldn't. So he was an actor at more than a playwright by reputation at this time. And so the plague had closed the plays down. We were talking about the pandemic earlier. There was a pandemic then too, and the Globe Theatre was closed. And so he's also expressing his frustration at not being able to perform, but also his reputation has been besmirched. He's not, and so we all worry too much about how others perceive us and what others think of us, including Shakespeare, and that's what's going on here. He's saying, curse my fates. And I'm jealous of others, I wish I had this man's art, this man's going. He's essentially expressing jealousy. And then, perspective is everything. He thinks of his love, the fair youth. And, suddenly everything's better.
Yeah, it works on so many different levels, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I mean...
Because originally when I read it, when I read the sonnets when I was much younger, I thought, the speculation about it all seems to be about love, but of course it isn't. It's about so many other things, which makes him so amazing, touching every aspect of humanity.
The multifaceted state of the man. And state, actually, that's one way you think of the word state appears in this a lot. Is like three times. There's the state with kings, my status, but also my state, as in my emotional, mental state as well. And
of course, with kings. The kings that perform on them, that he's written about and performed on the stage, but also actually, going to court, having to behave themselves.
Yes, yes. This is the age of, as we were talking about on Friday, this is the age of patronage and status and nepotism and courtly favour and all of that. Yeah. So he was on. Still, at this point, he's probably a bit of a peripheral figure, which seems mad to us now, but that was the reality back then. And you could say this about lots of great artists, great artists at their time, and they only get their reputation and legacy secured after their death.
Yeah, what's that thing where it's like he dotted it and then the guy was like, oh, would that he have dotted 1,000 in his will? Ben Jonson.
Ben Jonson.
Do you know that?
Was he saying this about Shakespeare?
Like he put like a dot on his work by accident, and then Ben Jonson was like,
in the Euconium at the beginning of the first folio.
Yeah,
yes,
that's so funny.
He this myth that he's ne'er a blot on the escutcheon. Yes, exactly. That he was just amazing. He wrote endlessly, didn't he? I'm going to read a bit. Yeah.
So there you go. So
like Mozart's supposed to have just dashed it off, the genius.
And of course, maybe he did. So that's that sonnet. I mean, it's probably one of the more famous sonnets. The most famous sonnet is, of course, "Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day," which is sonnet 130, I think.
Go on.
6.
I'm not entirely certain myself now. Shall I compare?
116 is "Let Me Not to the Marriage of
Oh
Two
no,
Minds."
I'm totally wrong. It's actually sonnet 18.
Oh, sonnet 18.
Well, of course it is, because it's part of the fair youth. Sonnet 100 and sonnet 100 and something else, because they get darker and more.
Yes, they do. Yes, like his plays.
Whisper the word. Yes, indeed. So there you go. It's. Could you draw parallels between the progression of his plays and the progression of his sonnets? Maybe. Yeah. Although, of course, there is speculation that the sonnets were written, in his younger days. No, well, not necessarily one go, but across a more condensed time frame than, obviously, it was 38 of his plays over a wider span of time. So
there's also this element, isn't it, that in order to establish himself, in common with so many other writers of the period, you write sonnets, you write poetry, because to be a playwright was not respectable. The theatre was not respectable. So if you can produce, poetry that, obviously we suspect that, we think, we're sure that certainly the Fair Youth ones were written to order by the Countess of Pembroke for the Earl of Southampton. Get on and propagate, why don't you? Get a move on. And it turns into something else. But of course, and also that it's a way of establishing yourself, and they're passed around, okay? And of course there's the school of night theory that they're all getting together in a dark room and passing out ideas around, and these are part of that. So we just don't know.
No, this is it.
By hand, on paper. Oh, look, I've got a new one here. Have you read this one? No, but I've read this one. Who knows? We just don't know.
That's the case about Shakespeare himself, actually. We don't know a lot about him as a person.
I guess that's the appeal.
Yeah, could well be.
An enigma.
Yeah, it is.
Writers nowadays are so boring, you just know everything because they're on social media. Just tell them.
Yeah, it makes it more mysterious. Makes him able. We can push all sorts of ideas onto him as well. Yeah, yeah.
Transpose idealism onto him.
Yeah,
and let's keep him on his pedestal, which he deserves, of course.
I think what's good about
that's for sure.
Yeah, what's good about 21st century is that though writers don't feel so daunted by him now. I think during for much of the 20th century, writers were really daunted. He was much, really, he was so much a part of English culture. He still is, but it's slipping a little, which is a good thing, I think. Yeah, we have to know him, but we don't know.
You can't say that.
I can.
She can. But to return to what I was saying, even he was insecure. So that this sonnet humanises him for me, because I think we all go, how did he do that? How did he come up with this? And it's like, well, actually, deep down, he felt like the rest of us. So I thought that's why I wanted to start with that one, to sort of do that.
Yeah.
Put him down, take him down a peg or two. So there you go. So that's me. I don't know who wants to. Well, I'll talk about other stuff as well, but that'll start us off. So
yeah, definitely, absolutely.
So who would like to? Miss Huntley, do you want to talk a little bit first before we hand over to?
Yeah, I was going to do a bit more general thing, but I will talk about a particular text as well.
Okay.
This I'm sure a lot of people have seen this, even if you've not picked it up and read it. You read it? Yep. Miss Oliver, you read it yet? No. Okay. Mrs. Sayer bought this for me as a thank you for the Romeo and Juliet trip, and it was just before Easter, and I was in Shakespeare mode. I have to be in Shakespeare mode these days because otherwise it seems like work. And when I'm teaching Much Ado, Macbeth, and maybe sometimes something else at the same time, but it didn't feel like work because I'd enjoyed the Romeo and Juliet so much. And you did too, didn't you?
Yeah,
do you want to chat about that very quickly?
Oh yeah. So right before Easter, we went on a trip and I tagged along to watch Romeo and Juliet at the Globe, and it was a new production. And one of the striking things was how they linked it to gang violence and crime in the modern day. So they had recognisable stuff from London, like tube signs, bikes which were crazy and going over the heads of the audience. You had to duck because they would zoom past
superb,
you.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, and great lights and phones to do selfies and stuff. A lot of the time, I feel like for Shakespeare plays, they add modern props in just for the sake of it, but they were really impactful here and thoughtful. So yeah, really enjoyed it, and it was a great performance as well because it was accessible. So obviously great if you needed it, but also they had all the captions, so you could follow it really well and was really useful.
Really helped, didn't it? Yeah.
And makes you dwell more on the words, because sometimes when you're in a performance you just get lost in a bit trying to follow, but you can see who's speaking, and especially if you've studied it before, really you can keep track and enjoy the nuances they applied to the performance.
I hadn't thought that, Hannah. That's really good because it made it much more accessible, didn't it? For British people who speak English, but those, especially with the Globe, when it's such an international audience now as well. Yeah.
Were the words on the screen then or something?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
They had them up sort of.
You know, like an opera has surtitles. They had them at one side rather than over the because if you're standing in the pit, you can't necessarily see you can't see the top of the roof.
Yeah.
So it was. Did they have them both sides?
I think they were
just
both
one?
sides.
They were both sides.
Because if you're that side, you can't see what we were looking at because we could see it to the left.
So even those who were sitting in the top tier, the upper tier, could see basically quite well as well. Yeah. I remember them doing it for when Globe to Globe, when we had companies from around the globe and they did it Shakespeare in their own language. That was the first time, and I think they've just decided to bring it back, which is it should be. Yeah, definitely. So, and what about the music? Did you like the music? Can you remember?
Music?
Banging and very.
Oh yeah, between every scene there was like
percussion. Yeah,
that was really effective.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a lull or anything.
During the dream sequence.
The dream sequence was so good.
It was massively surreal, but it worked. It was, and it added
and like the sort of tragicomic effect.
Yes, because obviously they front loaded it with humour, before the tragedy of which gets kick-started by Mercutio and Tybalt's deaths, and then it gets a lot more serious. But they plonk that in to get a bit of the humour back, which is very effective. And I think there's Marianne. I think the other hello.
Hi. Thanks for coming.
Welcome. How is that? Some tea and a biscuit. I think what you talk about how accessible it was. We can say the same about the Macbeths we've seen at school trips. I think because it's seen as another time. The past is another country. They do things differently there. Yeah. What we have to remember is that these plays were not for the intelligentsia. They were for the masses. They were written, and things like he would put in scene like the porter. If you mentioned Macbeth, the porter, he was there to appeal to the groundlings. Sort of like make it accessible to them, and so this is it. Shakespeare should be for everyone. It shouldn't be seen as a
little touches that are for the intelligentsia,
yes,
just in case.
Of course,
but yes,
of course. I'm
For Miss Huntley.
not trying to denigrate.
No, not at all. But the pennies were really important. They really were, because they could make or break a play.
Also, I think they should still be selling fruit and stuff because I got so tired during that performance.
Selling fruit.
Yeah, you know how
they did have fruit. They do have fruit downstairs.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Sorry about that. You should have asked. We could have.
Gone and got some fruit.
I mean, she had more fruit.
But
You
eating,
didn't
not
have to
throwing
necessarily
on stage.
stick with
Actually,
us
no,
the whole
you didn't
time.
have to stick with us, did you?
Because
We didn't have much
free
time.
will.
I agree.
They didn't let me leave at the end.
Anyway, another time.
Do you want another
Also, next time
scenery?
we go, Hannah, you'll have to sample their sausage roll. Yes, please.
Seeing as
I'm
it's
vegetarian.
quite a bit in the park.
Yeah. You're vegetarian, but the Globe Cafe, I don't know if you remember this, Sarah, they have this very long sausage roll, they cut you off a bit.
Oh.
I really want a sausage roll now.
Yeah. I had one yesterday. So.
Everyone's got the munchies now.
Munchies, yeah.
No, the tuck shop sausage rolls, guys.
I'll give you a sausage roll.
Do they have
The tuck shop what?
Sausage rolls because they're warm.
Yeah.
A warm sausage roll.
Wow, they've updated the tuck shop.
Yeah, they do
No
like
way.
pastries now and stuff.
They actually?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see?
And hash browns. I never get hash browns though. I'm not a big fan of hash browns.
I like them very occasionally. Anyway, to return to the
Get off the subject of food.
well, food was important in the Globe, wasn't it? When they did the excavation of the rose, they found the original rose, slightly up the road from the Globe. Have I told you this before?
Nope.
No.
Just nodding along.
Yep.
Judy Dench talks about it in here. They found all these hazelnut shells that originally thought, oh well, maybe they use them as a sort of mulch, like you stand on them and gradually it progresses coming. But in fact, it's just what they were selling, and they just chucked them on the ground. In case you didn't realise what was going on. So they must have had, you think about the Elizabethans, the Jacobeans, they must have had very strong teeth, or they carried a portable nutcracker with them.
To be honest, I think if I was an entrepreneur,
Oh yeah.
portable nutcrackers, guys, you could have
Uh-huh.
them on a little bag.
Yeah.
But didn't they also throw them at the stage? Or
Oh yes. Oh yeah, they did.
that works as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Not down.
Because hazelnuts were cheap because we grew them. They grow in English countryside, British countryside, Wouldn't be tomatoes because they were only just coming in and they were incredibly expensive.
Horrible history's taught me that, guys.
Yeah. So the man who pays the rent because
She's an
ideas why?
actress.
She's an actress.
Because people have to pay the rent.
Yeah.
Because it's how she lives.
Well, it's Judi Dench, and
Her rent.
time after time after time, and this is how she started her career with Shakespeare. So in each chapter, this is a discussion with a very good friend of hers who's a director and actor as well. What?
Well, I just got it. Like I didn't get it before, and then you explained it, and then I got it. The meaning of the title. Because she's an actress and she did the Shakespeare.
Yes.
And he was literally the man who
Yeah.
paid her rent because... Okay, yeah. Sorry, guys.
Don't
She's
say
a
sorry.
coquette.
It's fine. Why would you...
I don't know. I've interrupted now.
No, not at all. Not at all. Okay. He's not really the man who pays the rent, but he is. Is that got that lovely dual meaning that, you know, 3 meanings under one word, as another character in another book says. Anyway, it starts with Macbeth, Lady Macbeth. Her most famous role, which is available on film, with anybody know who was her Macbeth?
Was it Sir
Sir?
Ian McCallum?
Yeah.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I could have got that.
Yeah.
Isn't there a picture of them in the textbook? Not textbook.
Yes.
Copy.
Yes, there is. Can you remember what's significant about her costume?
It was black,
Yes.
which
Nobody's
signifies
done it
the
like this
devil.
again.
Signifies her. She's got a crown.
No, she's not a crown.
She's got
Well,
a
she hasn't-
halo. She's got
No.
a circular thing around her
No,
head.
no.
Hat.
Judi Dench's got very short hair anyway, so she
Yes.
doesn't need to. They put the women in headscarves.
Oh.
Now this is unusual because headscarves, when they did it, it would not have had the Muslim connotation.
Typically religious, isn't it?
No, it would have been. It's a way of showing that it's not multicultural. It's a way of showing that this is not modern. This is not modern, but it's also is modern.
Mm-hmm.
So it's covering both things. Okay. It's a sort of headscarf that Russian or Middle European women working in the fields.
Right.
Lovely. She does talk about it in here. Anyway, so it was 1976 that she did it, and I saw it in 1978 when they brought it to London, what is now the Donmar. Then it was called the Warehouse.
So this was her first prominent Shakespeare.
Well, no, her first prominent Shakespeare actually was Ophelia for the Old Vic.
Oh,
That's
okay.
really what kick-started her career. The reason I think they start with Macbeth is because in this book, I can't be sure, but is because yes, Macbeth was the reason I went into the theatre.
Right.
So
Yeah, quite right to start with it then.
yeah, absolutely. I saw my brother Peter play King Duncan in a school production. He had to say, "What bloody man is that?" And I thought, "My God, swearing! This is Shakespeare. This is for me." And of course, Judi Dench comes from Yorkshire, and York, and they'd had an acting tradition because she'd been in the York mystery plays. But this is to do with the Shakespeare, and also, of course, it's about why she went into the theatre. But also, if you're only going to read one essay as a year 11. Be this one. Or there's also Romeo and Juliet as well in here too.
I'm a bit busy right now. I'm sorry.
So
I'm trying to read The Grapes of Wrath as well. It's a bit stressful.
I know, a bit stressful. Okay. Anyway, so she goes through all the wonderful characters, including Midsummer Night's Dream, and of course she played Midsummer Night's Dream down the road at the Rose.
Of course.
Long time ago now, when the Rose first opened.
When did the Rose open?
Oh gosh.
20.
Oh, sorry.
Early 80s was it?
Oh no. No.
No.
No.
Before that.
No, much later.
No, later than that.
Much
I think
I was
so.
about to say
I was gonna
because
say,
it's
how
quite
much
modern.
later. Much later.
It's quite modern.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Peter Hall designed it.
Okay.
It's got like modern stairs and stuff.
Have you got your iPad with you, Hannah? You can look it up. When did the Rose and... I want to say 2012, but I don't think I'm right. I think it's earlier than that.
Surely it's not that.
When did you come?
When did I move?
When did you come?
This neighbourhood.
Yes.
2010.
Right, so it's earlier than that then.
Yeah. Hang on. 2008.
Okay, 2008.
Okay, it's not that much before.
Now that's got a major... again, it's got a major Shakespeare connection because it's
That's one of
called The Rose, after Shakespeare's... one of Shakespeare's first theatres. It's got the Elizabethan open circular element. Hasn't got a proscenium arch. People used to sit down on the floor.
They still do.
Do they?
Yeah,
I've
they
not
still.
seen
They.
that.
I've not seen that.
Where are you going?
Well, yeah, but they can remove the seats, can't they? I've been there and I've sat down on the floor.
Really?
Was that the child
When?
production?
Yeah, they put the cushions down and you can
For the kids?
Yeah, for the kids.
Okay.
Is this one
Well, I'm glad that they're still doing it, but they're certainly not doing it for adult shows.
No, not for adult shows.
It
Yeah.
must be.
Okay.
They
Right.
put like lovely colourful cushions
Oh,
down.
great!
Yeah.
Well, that's really good to know. That's really good to know because after the pandemic, they seemed to put the seats in, and that was the end of that. Because Peter Hall wanted the idea that
Yeah.
it was so accessible that we weren't going to stand, but we could certainly sit on cushions. They cost £5. You could sit, and you brought your own cushion.
Mm. I think they still do it for the kids' shows. Please don't hold me to that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Listen
You
to
saw
that.
it.
I
You
mean,
didn't.
Sorry, we haven't.
They
Okay.
definitely used to, but I haven't been to a children's performance for a while, so yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think my sister went to one recently.
Okay.
How old is your sister?
She's 9.
She's
Oh,
just,
okay. That's
Oh,
okay.
in that
I've got
case,
2
yeah.
sisters.
You've got 2 sisters.
Yeah, exactly. So.
So it's not like weird for her to be going to gigs. She's like 23.
Just trying to get the cheaper tickets, you know?
Go to a
But that's
live
the
show
other
with the
thing about the
Optimals.
Globe; it's still accessible, and that's what Peter Hall wanted. So she played Titania for him, and she'd worked with him back at the RSC. She held him in absolute amazing esteem because he and John Barton taught her and the people who were with her in that company, including her husband Michael Williams, how to cope with the verse, how to work with the verse, not fight it. The pentameter, in other words. And she's just wonderful. It's such a wonderful book about acting, about Shakespeare, about all the influences on life, and it's got lovely little pictures as well, which, as she says,
that's beautiful, yeah.
she's losing her sight. She can't see very much anymore, and Brendan O'Hare, who she wrote this with, who she chatted with, and after this came in this book, said, no, we must have them in because for those who are losing their sight, it's an inspiration that, is the
I went to go.
Malvolio.
I went to go see
Look at
Upstart.
Yeah,
I went to go see
Upstart
Upstart
Crow.
Crow live, and they did a parody of Summer 12th Night, and they had the guy in yellow stockings and purple puffling pants.
Puffling pants, yeah.
And black crisscrossy things, and they just got progressively larger. And
Yeah.
so when he walked
Brilliant.
on right at the end, it
Brilliant.
was about 2 meters either side and a massive quad dangle. And it was quite funny.
Sounds like Morecambe and Wise.
Yeah.
The sort of thing Morecambe and Wise used to do all the time. Eric would come on wearing enormous something or other. And there's a very famous one where they're doing tap dancing, and every time he goes off and comes back on again, the cane has got bigger and longer and longer. It's such
Height of farce. Brilliant.
the old ways. So that's one thing about Shakespeare and his influence on our cultural life. The other thing I want to talk about, of course, is the words. This is David Crystal and his son Ben Crystal. Lots of people talk about Shakespeare's words, but the Crystals are amazing. And if you're going to be studying or just interested in our language, it's a glossary and language companion. Mr. Sebastian will say, well, of course, he didn't he didn't invent all those words. It's just that the Oxford English Dictionary contributors, that's the first thing they went to, and that's what we're finding out because the Oxford English Dictionary was first sort of contributed by amateur contributors. Anyway, this is also where you find these particular words, and also what they mean. So, for example, I was teaching Year 8 Much Ado About Nothing, and we were talking about duels and how you get involved in a duel, how you start one off. So it was Benedict who's killed Claudio, says Beatrice, and I said, anybody know how you do it? Well, you get out your sword and you run them through. No, you have to.
You've got the 10 dual commandments, guys. There's a whole song about it.
Yeah.
And then a reprise.
Go on then.
What, you want me to sing all of 10 dual commandments from Hamilton? Because I can do it. And
If you want to.
You want to? Go on then.
I'm not going to be singing all 10 dual
I'll
commandments.
sing just a little selection.
Sing a little section.
Okay. Guys, no, you put me on the spot now. This
No,
is,
you volunteered this.
Yeah, you did. This is literally
No, it's
you know
okay,
what
okay,
happened.
okay, don't do it then, don't do
All
it.
right,
Don't,
don't do it.
you
Peer
put it up.
pressure.
I know, but there is a whole song about it.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
Anyway,
fine.
sorry, Miss Utley.
Much Ado About Nothing.
Much Ado About
Yes, I
They've
do
been
know
acting
that.
it out, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah. And we've got sort of stuck on this scene with Kill Claudio.
Yeah.
No, I can't do that. No. Anything else? And then he undertakes it. Okay. I can't actually at this moment quote the words, sadly, but anyway. So we were talking about how you do it, and here it is under G. Gauge. There are three meanings of the word gauge. Gauge, pledge, challenge, usually a glove or gauntlet thrown down. Henry VI, Part 1. Hannah Ison, Percy to a Merle. There I throw my gauge. Now I saw that very recently, as did you, at
No, that was Henry
Wimbledon
IV.
Theatre. Oh, sorry, Henry IV. I put my.
She got the Roman numerals wrong.
Got the Roman numerals around the wrong way. I was doing my mother's trick. There I throw my gauge. And this is what happens in Much Ado About Nothing, although I cannot possibly give you the line at this moment. However, it also means gauge, rest under, remain as challenges. 4186, Bolingbroke to Merle. These differences shall all rest under gauge till Norfolk be repealed. In other words, this is Bolingbroke. Norfolk's got to be recalled from Europe, and the whole challenge is going to wait until he comes back. Of course, Norfolk dies abroad, and it all gets more complicated. And then the last one, gauge, pledge, contract, stake.
That's news to Miss Huntley, judging by that reaction.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Second epiphany today, guys.
Yes,
Second epiphany
absolutely.
in 5 minutes. So, it'll be some sort of record.
One for all, or all for one, we gauge.
What, Three Musketeers?
Yes, I know. I have never read this in my life
Can I-
before.
can I see?
Well, look, see, I don't know.
What's that? I see it.
There's that also by
Guys,
crystals.
it's 52 already.
Pledge contract.
Is this true?
One
That
for all,
actually,
all for one we gauge.
No one's speaking.
Pledge, bind, commit to Case to Patrick.
Miss Huntley, you were speaking for 50 minutes.
oh, sorry.
Oh, you've done it again.
I've done it again. Sorry.
Right, someone else.
Someone else.
Miss
I'll
Miss
have
Oliver,
Miss
Hannah.
Oliver.
It's
Miss
interesting.
Oliver.
It's interesting. I'm still looking for
Quickly, we have to
gauge.
take a quick, okay?
Hannah, can you go?
Yeah, okay.
I don't
So
wanna go
I'm going to talk
fast,
really fast
just
because
Oh, yeah,
I
it's
don't
got
know.
two definitions of gauge in here. To fight a duel, and Horatio describes how the legal agreement between King Hamlet and Fortinbras was
Oh, that's another one.
gauged by our king.
Yeah,
So
well, they haven't got that
pledge.
here. But
Pledge, challenge, pledge,
Yes.
contract.
yeah, they've got a slightly different. So it is Hamlet then, because he does. There's, I'll have to look that up.
Oh,
Anyway.
okay. I'm not going to talk about Shakespeare. I'm going to talk about the
Oh.
best edition of Shakespeare.
Oh, okay.
Oh, all right, yeah, yeah.
okay.
Oh,
Okay,
fair
this is a
enough.
bit of a
Yeah.
pitch directed
Oh,
at
what's
no one in
happening?
particular.
Oh, okay.
Okay, if you're going to read Shakespeare, what what are you doing with these like flimsy copies? Yeah? You've got to go for the proper stuff, right?
Right, the proper stuff being
Heavy. It's got to be Arden Shakespeare.
Oh, okay.
The flimsy stuff is the National Theatre, incidentally. That's
No offence
that's
to
what
anyone.
You have to
flimsy
use them in
is.
rehearsal because
Okay.
they can't be going around with footnotes. But anyway, go on.
The introduction is this thick, okay?
Mm.
The footnotes are this thick, and all throughout the page it's got like 1 or 2 lines, and then all these notes under. Anyway, so my theory is, if people say, "Oh, I hated Shakespeare at school, but then I grew up and it made sense," it's not because they hated it; it's just because they didn't understand it,
Because they didn't bother to read the footnotes.
because they
Well,
didn't
they have
as
access to
detailed
these footnotes.
So it's not just understanding what the words mean, it's understanding the context behind them. And that's
Yes.
why scholars are obsessed with it and kind of annoying, because they understand it. And nobody else does. Like, do you think you need that much context for those 4 lines? Yes, you do, especially for a history play. And once you understand it, it makes sense. And then you understand why it's so, like, interesting and so, like, why it's such good writing and all the different, like, sources he draws from. And also, like, you talked you talked before about, like, bringing Shakespeare down a peg or 2. And
I don't. I did say that, to be fair, but I did say that tongue in cheek
okay, well,
as an after comment
I
after
think-
my main bit. But anyway, do go on.
one of the most interesting things is looking at the sources he uses, like Holinshed, and seeing there's some bits where he just copies it or he'll take it from another source.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see how that doesn't take away from like the strength of his work, because he's able to combine these historical sources, and the talent isn't making it up, but it's pushing it to a new format and making it still engaging and synthesizing the history. And if you don't get that, you'll just never understand it. And also, like, it's edited, I'm pretty sure, by actors. And look at these beautiful pictures. So I think we should get them all for the library so everyone can understand it. But
If you're the fans, I will
Well said.
sell the science books.
encourage it. It costs hundreds of pounds.
No, this is interesting because you mean when you're reading it, not when you're watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise you can
Pause it. You can always pause it.
Yeah, would you recommend taking an Arden edition to watch Shakespeare with it? Because there are people that go to the proms and read the score as they're listening.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
No. But also when people say, "Oh, it's meant to be performed," yeah, but it's also meant to be read.
Yeah, but
And-
it's different. It's different media. You can't you can't say. Oh, hang on.
and how
Like,
she incoming.
obviously, some people like to read the score for a prom, but if you've got an annotated score, that's better. I need that for my GCSE. If I don't have access to that, then obviously I'm going to fail. So obviously it's not that extreme in that, but if I don't have an annotated, no. Hang on,
Shakespeare,
hang
you're
on,
gonna fail
hang on a
in
second.
life.
If I don't use an annotated score to learn from the score, then I'm not going to be able to pass my GCSE because I'm not going to be able to fully understand the score.
Yes.
However, it would be incredibly distracting to have an annotated score if I wanted to read along with the proms,
Yes.
because they're different media
Medium.
used for different things. So I think you saying that taking it along to a Shakespeare play, obviously you wouldn't use that because it's a different kind of media, and obviously Hannah's going to use it to heighten her studies so
That's
she
right.
can
I don't think
become
Hannah
more.
said you should take along the play scripts too.
No, she didn't.
Othello whilst you're watching Othello.
No, she
My
didn't.
words
But
are
I'm
misinterpreted.
asking
Okay,
whether
ask
you
it.
could, whether is.
And
are
we
you
have
recommending that?
rebutted.
Because you just
Yeah, I
said
feel.
Romeo and Juliet was so accessible because.
Because of the captions, because you could follow along.
Well, yes, that too.
No.
But there's no footnotes.
But
to
there's
those
no
captions.
footnotes.
So
Maybe there
you
should
can
be.
join them in different.
You know, people used to be able to
arenas.
read really fast and remember things. So maybe we just have to train ourselves.
But you said, but you made a very important point, because I have been in lectures about Shakespeare where the theatre practice is not mentioned at all,
Sorry.
and it was an academic, a very very gifted academic, and she was talking about all sorts of other things, and it was fascinating. But I thought, hang on a minute. Down the road, I was sitting in this festival hall. Down the road is the Globe. Where is the theatrical practice in all this? And I remember having arguments about this at university. What about the theatre, the actual staging, etc.? So it's fine. It's a fine line. But thank you. Okay, we'll maybe put it to the Parents' Association and ask for some money, possibly.
We could always do a fundraiser.
Yeah. Or it could
We
be your
so should.
legacy for us that you provide a shelf.
I'll
and
come
we
along.
collect
I'll
it.
come along in a
Anyway.
free period.
We should do
Mrs.
there was
Oliver.
a science quiz,
Right,
maths
do
quiz
you want to
today. We
talk
should do an
about
English
Brandon?
quiz.
Should do an English
Yeah.
quiz, raise money.
Okay, Miss Oliver needs to
Miss
go in a
Oliver.
minute. So I'm going to hand over to Miss
Yes,
Oliver.
please.
to
Handing
talk
over to
about
you
Macbeth.
rather than me
No, don't
talking
put too
all
much
the time.
pressure on me, please. No, I just wanted to mention Macbeth because it's one of my favourite tragedies. You mentioned it earlier, one of you two. And I find the aspect of mental illness really interesting in it because I find psychology fascinating. So the decline of the mental illness of Lady Macbeth, particularly Anne Macbeth, I think is quite fascinating in it, and how she starts off as this really strong woman, manipulating her husband, really ambitious for him, and he's the one that is reluctant, and they get what they want. Obviously, with the 3 murders, they become king and queen, but it's not enough. And I love the way it's manifested in the fact that they no longer sleep at night. You know, it haunts their sleep. And Lady Macbeth, she's washing her hands, and she's just out. What is it? Out damn spots. Yeah. So she can never get her hands clean of the blood she feels, and I just love that, all that psychology behind it, and very similar with Macbeth as well. So yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about that.
About Macbeth, or?
Wow.
Because you'll be studying it.
Do you remember
So
Romeo and Juliet?
we talked a lot about
Macbeth.
this.
Woo! Anyway, sorry guys, I love Macbeth. It's one of my favourite Shakespeares, along with As You Like It, Much Ado About Nothing, which is a bit of a contrast, you know, but we always need a bit of tragedy in the light.
Light
Anyway.
and dark.
Puts
That's
things
right.
in perspective. I love it. It's great. I love all the context, the different aspects, how many different aspects there are. Obviously, mental illness, there's feminism, there's misogyny, there's the masculinity, there's the other kind of masculinity, there's all the different kinds of masculinity. There's... God, it's so interesting. The annoying thing about having to write an essay about it in English is like I've got 45 minutes when I could talk for hours about it.
My GCSE, I couldn't decide which questions to do, so I did both.
No.
Didn't seem to do any
It's
harm.
not easy. It's not easy to decide which question, is it?
But I
Which
couldn't
one did
decide.
you do in the
I did
end?
both.
You did both.
Let's go.
Did you get a 9?
Yeah, you don't really have to stay. We'll probably go on for a bit longer.
Right, thank
But
you.
if
It's
you need
very
to go, thank you,
interesting.
Miss Oliver,
So, thank you
for joining
I think
us.
that's not bad,
Thank you,
maybe.
and see you tomorrow.
Fun.
Thank you. Yeah, look, Macbeth, we talked about it on Friday.
We did
With the
talk about
podcast. I won't go into great detail, but
Oh, we did.
we did a podcast, myself, Miss Huntley, Mr. Sebastian,
Oh,
and
wait,
Mr.
why were we not
Sebastian.
invited?
Yeah, that's a bit rude. No, I'm joking. Joking.
As I was saying, Mr.
Rid
Sebastian.
of Litsoc.
I'm not going to go into great detail, but Mr. Sebastian talked about the supernatural element, because obviously that's one thing people love, but how that was to appeal to the king at the time, and he really
Yeah, he's got a theory about this.
he's got a great theory, which I'm not going to share because he'll explain it better than me, because it's his theory, not mine.
No, you have to listen
Okay,
to
I'll
it.
You have to
Listen
listen to the
Yeah.
to the podcast. But yeah, essentially, let's just say it was to do with who was on the throne at the time. That's probably
He's got so many
that's the
things.
starting point.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed he does. So Macbeth is there's a lot to it. There's a lot. It's a
There's a
very
huge amount to it, isn't there?
and it's just very enjoyable. It's just a lot of fun. It's all action. It's great characters, and the psychological thriller aspects of it, and the dangers of ambition and greed, and there's a reason why it's one of the more popular ones. I think.
There's so many
It's enduring.
perspectives that you can look at it from, and each time you get something new and different, and that's why I love it so much.
It's one you
Ironically,
go to again and again.
it is the one that it's the most difficult to get right, though.
Yeah, I've seen some dud ones actually.
I've seen some right dud ones over the years.
I was really sad that I wasn't able to go see David Tennant, guys. My favourite person doing one of my favourite Shakespeare's.
You
He
can
did
listen
loads.
to it on the BBC, though, can't you? I put the link on the
Listen to Macbeth.
yeah
Not the David Tennant.
Not the David Tennant
yeah
version.
the David Tennant version.
Is it?
Yeah.
Guys,
It's on
weekend.
Showbiz.
What's one of the worst ones you've seen then for you?
For Macbeth,
Yeah.
Rory Kinnear.
Oh, Rory Kinnear, Mr. Sayers' friend.
Yeah, I know. That's why.
Shade!
No, that's why I asked if he would do a talk for us, because I wanted to know how he felt.
Yeah, I know. That's
It's not.
that was my reaction when she
It's
first
not,
told me.
It's not Rory. It's not Mr. Kinnear's performance. Not at all. It's the whole concept of the production. It was so disappointing. It was a sort of post-apocalyptic.
You think that doesn't work?
But this post-apocalyptic, they seem to have kept red suits. Thanks, like it was like it was necessary. Like it was going to happen. It was just I thought it was a mishmash mess.
Mishmash mess.
Mishmash mess. And not even, as Shakespeare might say, Mitchin Malacho, because it just wasn't. I can't even remember. Well, I think the witches were bagway ladies, but I can't remember precisely.
Wow.
That was my biggest disappointment, and I really felt that the National had made quite a big mistake. The casting, I mean,
It's Rory Kinnear.
Rory's Hamlet was absolutely superb. Almost 90% of the stuff I've seen him in he's just fabulous.
Including Henry IV, Hollow Crown.
Yep.
Which,
Hollow Crown.
if you haven't, you've seen a Hollow Crown, haven't you? Yeah.
Was he? Is that Bolingbroke?
Yeah, he's Bolingbroke.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's Bolingbroke.
In which one? Is it both?
both. Yeah,
Both.
I'm pretty sure.
All
It's,
three.
well, it must be both.
Yeah, I'm almost sure.
Yeah, and you got
I know he was very
you got Cumberbatch, of course,
Yeah.
in both as well.
Yeah.
So, or more than Richard III.
The other thing about Macbeth is it's the shortest tragedy, and of course, as we've said on Friday, without the first folio, we wouldn't have it.
Good save.
Yeah.
Along with multiple others. Julius
Yeah.
Caesar was one I talked. What one did you talk about?
Winter's Tale.
Winter's Tale.
Yeah.
Can you imagine without those two? The others two, Antony, Cleopatra, and then some of the Coriolanus, which I think Mr. Sebastian said he was going to talk about.
Yes. I
After-
think he's probably added in a little bit more.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then some of the less well regarded ones like
All's well
Henry
that
VIII
ends well, which is an
and Two
interesting
Noble Kinsmen.
way. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not every play was brilliant. Just
No.
again,
That's the
taking him down a
infuriation.
peg or
There are
two.
sometimes when you think, what are you
anti-Shakespeare
doing?
Litsoc.
Where is this plot going? What
okay.
time are we in? How long has passed? Hamlet, how old is he?
In Henry VIII's defence, what the Dickens originates from Henry VIII, so it's got that going for it. Just
Also,
thought
he
I'd
had to be
just
very
put that.
careful, didn't he? Because he didn't want to upset the
Yeah.
powers that be.
Again,
Yeah.
as we were saying, Macbeth, he had to be careful because of who was ever was on the throne. He had to be, again, the age of patronage, as we were talking about earlier, couldn't be as subversive as writers working today.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
we should probably wrap up soon.
I think we should probably wrap
Yes.
up. No, come on.
Can I just mention
Yes,
one
go on.
Of
thing?
course you can. Yes.
Anyway, Much Ado About Nothing, David Tennant and Catherine Tate version. I think it's brilliant. I think everyone should watch it. It's my favourite version ever. It's on YouTube. The bad version. It's like a slightly blurry version.
And when's it set?
You mean
Marianne?
illegal?
When's it set?
Yeah, when's it set?
Current date? It's
So it's modern.
It's modern.
Right.
It's
Okay.
so good. I love it. It's so silly. It's so funny. And I feel like it just really captures the silliness and funness so much. Anyway, that's all I need to say,
No,
guys.
that's good.
Really good. It's really good.
You're looking for something
So
to watch
what
over the
war
weekend.
have they come back to?
Something
Is there a
to round
particular,
up.
or is it a gang warfare?
I
or
know it's they all come back in white I think nautical suits, and I've no
Okay,
idea
I
what war
will-
they've come back from.
When I have a next spare minute, I will have a look. Yeah, thank
It's
you.
very good. Anyway, that's all.
Yeah,
thanks,
you.
Marianne.
Helen,
Thanks
do you
very
wanna, chip in with your favourite production of something, or
I saw Merchant of Venice one really recently in London with the female Shylock.
is this the one with set in the East End?
Yeah.
Do tell.
Yes, it was really good, worth seeing. And they linked it to anti-Semitism in the 1950s and stuff like that. Obviously, all really important now and resonant. And I liked how she was amazing. She did a really good accent as well. And I think I read an article.
So
about
is it with black shirts with Mosley?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
in between scenes, they had stuff playing,
Right.
and articles on the screen, which was really effective. And
What were the articles about?
just the uprisings and anti-Semitism. So how it continues and how this still rings true, because obviously it's quite a controversial play, and Shylock is portrayed so badly. And I'm not sure.
What
if
did you
it's-
think? How did they attack?
I'm not convinced. They tried, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, because basically they didn't finish the last scene. They just as the resolution was happening, they just erupted into shouts, and they put something on the screen behind them and started chanting. So there wasn't really a resolution, but still, I'm not sure if the play can be saved because it's so much of it.
So, does Shylock lose everything? Did she lose everything?
Yeah, but it's a tragedy ending. It's not.
So we don't go to back to Belmont.
Well, you do, but then everyone comes on stage and the last lines don't actually happen.
Right.
So I thought, it was a really interesting take, and the actors were all really good, even though the people behind me were complaining and said they weren't very good. But
Ignore those Philistines.
Afterwards?
in
or?
the interval, they were like,
In the interval?
the only good person was blah, blah, blah. And my dad got really annoyed because he knew one of the actresses.
That's not
No, it's
good, is
not.
it?
At least wait till after.
At least wait till afterwards. Absolutely, I've seen the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Extreme prejudice.
What did your dad think?
He really liked it.
He really liked it. Okay.
Yeah,
Because I find it to teach it, I find very, very difficult. Very difficult.
But there's some really good lines and stuff.
Yeah.
And really good speeches. So yeah.
I never did the end. What does happen? So I know that he doesn't ever get his pound of flesh because no blood can be spilt. But then what happens?
You take everything from him. Everything.
Yeah.
But then they all get married.
Oh,
They all get married.
Fine then.
Well, no, they get married and they're all happy, except
Yeah,
that Jessica
They're all horrible to her.
is sort of...
Which one's Jessica?
She's his daughter that's become Christian. She's sort of left.
That was really sad.
Have you seen the Jeremy Irons
I only
film?
ever did 3 scenes.
Yes. No. I'm not sure. Rings the bell.
It's actually filmed in Venice. You would have seen it, I think.
Is Jeremy Irons the one that does Bright?
Jeremy Irons
I
is...
never
He is
did-
Bright
I never
Edinburgh
did the whole
Studio.
play, though. We
Okay,
only
no, I
did
saw
the 3
that.
scenes.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
Because we were in year 9, so...
Okay.
I got mine to see the whole...
we
Joke,
didn't
yeah.
we didn't really do we didn't really do
No.
much.
I wondered if you what version you were shown.
We weren't shown any version.
Oh, you weren't shown any
because
version.
we only did 3 scenes.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay. We'll talk about that in
I was a bit street
another
about it,
moment.
I don't know.
You had love in
Yeah, we had
Or cry.
a lovely time.
Good. Well, that's good to know. But it really is, isn't it? It's. I find it very painful. So for you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that there's supposed to be a resolution and you just feel like the elements aren't connecting. Like, none of the marriages really work because they're based on, mistrust and prejudice, so it just doesn't really hit.
yeah,
But
it's.
if you exploit that fact, then it kind of works.
Yes, I think you're right. Yeah, and I think this film that was made a few years ago now with Al Pacino as Shylock.
Yeah.
The characters are not. They're not nice. It's a pathetic word to use, but Antonio and Bassanio, they are decadent. They are misled, and that's brought out quite clearly. It's less obvious for the younger years, but to me it was but it still doesn't the revenge element at the end. So yeah, how do you feel about it?
About that particular...
Well, no, about the play itself.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, basically, problematic. Essentially, I think that's all you can say.
Yeah,
Problematic his depiction
yeah.
of certain
But some really good
people,
speeches.
types of people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I've seen it. That's 1930s. I've seen it set in the City of London in modern day. So Shylock, David Bradley played him. Striped shirt, braces, worked like a dream. But then, of course, you've got the later bit, and that's that I can't remember now how they did it, but it's that stripping of everything. And I suppose in a when financiers are shamed, they sort of these days they don't have any shame whatsoever. But Robert Maxwell chucks himself off his boat, for example. But nonetheless, it's still nasty. Yeah, because it is so racist in so many ways, isn't it? And
we did say we'd
hateful.
explore the more problematic aspects of Shakespeare. So there we go.
Here we are.
That's it. We have. So can I just to lift him back, elevate him back up a bit?
Yes.
I just want to say one thing very quickly. I was looking through this book because I was thinking.
Yes.
I said to Miss Huntley at the start, let's have a look for a 30-second summary of a Shakespeare play, maybe one of the lesser well-known ones. But they don't actually do that in this book. But what they do is there's aspects of his work, and this is because Mr. Sebastian asked me on Friday. Oh yeah, what? And I tried to come up with a pithy quote, and I didn't really. But this is a good one. He understood, Shakespeare that is, understood the human condition better than most and expressed it better than any in compressed and poetic truths that we have quoted so often they're now part of our language. What has made Shakespeare endure beyond any other writer is his gift for concisely revealing us to ourselves. There you go. So let's get Shakespeare back up there.
Yeah.
So that's my concluding
That's
remarks.
your concluding
Miss Huntley,
remarks.
yours.
Okay, I would like to quote from Ben Jonson's
Oh yeah. Yes.
To the memory of my beloved, the author, Master William Shakespeare, and what he hath left us. Happy birthday for tomorrow, Bill.
That's how familiar with Shakespeare Miss Huntley is.
Sweet swan of Avon, what a fight it were to see thee in our waters yet appear, and make those flights upon the banks of Thames, that so did take Eliza and our James. But stay, I see thee in the hemisphere advanced, and made a constellation there. Shine forth, thou star of poets, and with rage or influence chide or cheer the drooping stage, which since thy flight from hence hath mourned like night, and despair's day for thy volume's light. It's not a very good poem, but there are. Sweet Swan of Avon has resonated down the years, and this is the one thing that, if you take nothing else from today, he was not of an age, but for all time.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Happy Shakespeare Day.
Happy Shakespeare Day.
Bye. Huzzah.
Huzzah.